Oh, yeah, that was in the pyramid. But it looks like we are off. The moon is crashing. Run for your life. I think that's the wrong game, Uncle.
I also don't see how running for your life when the moon is crashing would really help. But, oh well.
I mean, what else are you gonna do aside from play a blue flute and call on your 4 giant weird-legged friends to hold it up while you go smack down a dude wearing a mask? That makes sense, right?
Absolutely.
Alright, and there was a map check that was so fast while I was ranting about Majora's Mask, I didn't quite catch it.
I believe Eastern and Desert were both crystals, and Hera was a 5/6, and that is a cane of Burna.
Now, the Cane of Burna is an interesting start, as you have to be very good with your magic management, as it will do... The Spark does fighter sword damage, so it is constantly draining your magic, and there aren't the largest amount of magic decanters available.
Yeah, at this point in the game, they only expect you to have the lamp as anything that uses any amount of magic, and it doesn't use very much.
But it is a constant drain, so you have to. So now it becomes a balance of, will I have enough damage to kill everything I need to kill, but still try to find a bomb to get to the back of the escape sequence?
Yeah, that bomb is a very big deal. We will.
A bit of time coming in later.
Yeah, we will see
something important.
We will see runners grind for that a little bit, if they don't manage to get one easily, because that back of escape, that can be very important and very annoying to try to get back to if you don't hit it the first time.
Well, unfortunately, so their first chest is the burrito, though. It's not the worst thing when we get down towards the ball and chain guard, as we can just go ahead and throw a couple pots at his face to take care of him. So it looks like both runners elected to use the pot to try to pull off that one blue guard. We'll see what we've got. Making their way past, almost in sync as we make our way down to the next required kill room. It's a lot of hearts in the prize pack.
Yeah, nice and fast kills, but not the rewards we want from them.
Now that we're looking at Megawott has a small bit of a magic lead over Kohrek right now. So we'll see where that comes in, if that comes into play or not. Though Kohrek will have less magic available to them in the bottom of the sewers to try to get a bomb. I imagine both of our runners are going to go ahead and use pot strats against this ball and chain guard. No.
Yeah, Kohrek getting bullied a little bit though. There's Megawatt with the big key. And the Ether Medallion.
Interesting start to that. Another item that uses magic that unfortunately will not kill enemies. Well, at least none of the enemies that we're going to see here.
And it doesn't do us any good without a sword in the first place.
Absolutely. Speaking of those swords, we're hoping to find some of them soon. There was a previous race today where swords were the go mode item. In fact, one of the runners elected to clear through Ganon's tower on Fighter's Sword, hoping to find the Master Sword within.
You know, I've seen seeds where that happens. I've seen 2, and I'm pretty sure I've even seen 3 swords in Ganon's tower. It can just distribute like that.
There's a little bit of mandatory junk fill in Ganon's tower, but the randomizer will randomize things. And hello, Kohrek. He's got a bomb, as Megawatt did as well, using those pots to save some of that magic. So I don't think we're going to be worried so much about our magic use to the end of this. The only enemy we have left is the true final boss of the escape sequence, that key-holding rat. Definitely feels good to have picked up that one bomb, though. It's only one, and you like to find a few more as you're walking out, just so you don't have to spend money on them when you get to Kakariko Village.
Yep, but 1 is all you really need. And we are going to hit a number of item locations now between here and when you desperately need them over in Kakariko, so the odds of picking up a 3-pack, decent enough.
You would certainly hope so. The randomizer will do what it wants to do, is pick up a big 20 from the Dark Sewers chest. Just a little bit of wading through the water and dodging through the rats, bats, and snakes. And we'll be on to those 3 items in the back of Escape.
Now, of course, you are seeing the runners with the lamp light cone. That is just for the escape sequence in standard. From here on out, they are going to have to find the lamp to have that bit of light.
The exception, of course, being this escape sequence. It is always lit. And I'm not trying to make some sort of party joke. As we find 20 rupees, the Moon Pearl, and the Book of Mudora. Could we potentially see a 8-minute pedestal check?
You know, I wouldn't put it past these runners.
It just seems from the logic we've seen from these earlier seeds today, I would think about it. Definitely something that's going to cross your mind, but looking at what that gives us access to already, just out of the escape sequence, we can walk into the Desert Palace. No guarantee we can do much when we get inside, as we get the big 20 as the reward from the Sanctuary chest location. In just over 6 minutes, we are off to the rest of this world and the seed. We will see what our runners elect to do once they make it out into the overworld.
Yes, as you were saying, this book gives us access to desert, does not yet give us access to the tablets, because again, no sword, and we don't actually have a way to get to either one yet. But that will be about as much as the book gives us, so it's a nice thing to find. Those are occasionally tricky locations, but not a huge density. And that is a good tree.
Hello, tree full of bombs.
A sword!
Growing in its natural habitat. Perhaps you could even call it French vanilla for the forest. Drop on down into the Thieves' Grotto, and we've got us a heart container. So we will see if these runners decide to divulge the time into walking up toward the pedestal. Megawatt's looking like they're not doing so. One cannot blame them. It is a long time before we have to really start thinking pedestal. Looks like Kohrek is going to do the same.
But if it does end up being a pedestal seed, that is the sort of thing you definitely want to know as soon as possible. I'm slightly surprised that neither of our runners took a peek at the lumberjack ledge. Granted, you don't have boots to access it, but it is nice to know if you want to push towards Aga as soon as possible.
So is the question of, do you want to burn the time for a low percent check that could end up saving you a bunch of time potentially, as Blind's hut is looking rather vanilla up until that blue mail. One more item to check in the back, and that's a piece of heart. Nothing so far in Kakariko, but we've just barely scratched the surface.
And unfortunately, all of these big 20s means we do have the money to talk to the bottle vendor, so aside from the sick kid, we will hit up pretty much all the locations here.
No, there's still time for that bottle to surface.
Oh, certainly.
Let us see what has been thrown into the wells of wishes. We're getting strong. That's our power glove. As we find a big 20 here. Both the runners so far thinking it's not bad, as we're in Dark World at 8 minutes.
8? Well, basically...
Just under 9.
Yeah, just under 9. But yep, we have a mushroom, we have a hammer, we got the moon pearl, and the glove.
And
that mushroom
rebate.
So yeah, this could be this could be a very valuable Dark World with that access being so early.
Yeah, but we're setting up for a potential of a very quick seed, as we've been given a lot, though. We have been given a lot of world access with not much we can fully clear as far as on the line of dungeons, though that does bring us to like Thieves Town being fully completable. And we're looking at 3 pendants being in the Dark World as well, so we don't know where those are at. A lot of this seed just opened to these runners, and that comes to think of, well, am I about to get randoed?
In a way, you always get randoed. The question is how hard.
Looking out in the library ledge just to find a piece of heart. It looks like Megawatch is going to go ahead and peek at the race game and see what is inside. And this time it is time saved. 3 bombs, they're out of there. I noticed though that Kohrek decided to spend the money on filling their bombs to 10.
Yeah, we are largely out of the area where we need a lot of bombs in quick succession. Megawatt knows where to find some on the ground. But having a full stack is always going to be a nice little convenience.
Absolutely. So Megawatt making our way down to the southern dam. See what is underneath the water, as well as what is in the little small block puzzle within. And the puzzle yields with us just a piece of art. We will see what is next once we rephase this room and pull on the big lever.
Meanwhile, Kohrek is headed straight to Hype.
Alright, will the cave formerly known as Hype live up to that name? Only time will tell. And of course, Kohrek. As we get the map check, as we have pendants in Thievestown, Misery Mire, and Turtle Rock, and the final 5-6 being on the Swamp Palace.
And we have some sunken silvers over by the dam. So as soon as Megawatt finds the bow, that is going to be some strong offensive power.
Who's got some baking soda to get the rust off these silvers? And unfortunately, that bomb's not going to open up the back of Hype Cave. Alright. And we've got us a heart container. 3 bombs! 3 bombs! And bombs! I'll give that a blueberry out of 10. Excuse me, that's pot of the pendant. I called that incorrectly.
It looked like Pod and Thievestown were both pendants, Thievestown being the green pendant. So Thievestown has a little more value, possibly.
Or it could be a massive waste of time.
Who knows?
Oh, yes, the Corsair in chat calling out that Hype Cave kind of bombed out, didn't it?
Womp, womp.
I will agree with that sentiment. Alright, and we'll see what Stumpy will give us to thank him for turning back into a tree. $50 this time. Looks like Kohrek's going to go ahead and hang out with Alec Baldwin and see what between 1 and 30 digs will yield. So I'm kind of looking at keeping my eye on the pendants here, and one item that jumps out as a potential for a pedestal would be a fire rod.
Ooh, yes. And of course, Ice Rod, anytime that Turtle Rock is a crystal, you got that risk.
Or, you know, the key to the door. I mean, there's so many things that are up to the pedestals, and though we have the chance to check it, we have chosen not to on these runners' side. And this is a lot of digs to find this prize.
Ooh, yeah. This is getting up there just for a piece of heart.
Feels bad, man. And Megawatt looks to be making the same play. We'll see what Kohrek decides to go to next. He's into the Sanctuary.
Up, Link's house. Might be going down and taking care of Mini Moldorm, because I don't believe they did that yet.
It looks like they're going to go ahead and route in the Southern Light World, though. I don't remember, did Megawatt make that long walk to a cold cave?
Megawatt did not. The Ice Rod Cave is still untouched.
Curious to see what may be hiding out in there, and how long it may take Megawatt to get back there if it's something worth their time.
Well, that is one of those distant orphan locations. A lot of runners will hold off until maybe the flute or the flippers, some way to route it in with other stuff. Personally, as soon as I have the Moon Pearl, I'm happy to go over there because you can use that to fake flipper all the way up to the Waterfall Ferry and get a little bit of sequence breaking, but some good items potentially.
There's always the thing with sequence breaking. It could turn out to be good, it could turn out to be a waste of time, and you lose track of where you are and end up thinking you can do stuff that you can't. And look at that! Hoarder crabs dropping out bombs too. Bombs seems to be the name of the seed so far. It looks like Megawatt is going to head into the Village of Outcasts, as Kohrek's going to make use of their bolt coin to take care of these mini mold orbs quick.
You don't see those magics used enough, but you got them, might as well flaunt them.
Actually, I don't know if Megawatt made it down here, because that's the magic powder. I don't remember them picking that up.
Oh no, Megawatt did pick that up along with the bottle, so
there it
we
goes.
probably are going to see a quick check of the sick kid while we're in this neighborhood, as well as Magic Bat. The Kohrek is going to give us the Ice Rod peak.
Nice to see a little bit of some of these fetch quests knocked off early. Not going to wait too long to run into these things. It's much too early to be up. How dare you wake me? Today I shall curse thee with half magic feels vanilla.
I shall curse you with the blandest of ice cream flavors. There's a hot take. And there's a hot layup in the Ice Rod Cave.
Well then. Goodbye, dark rooms. And that's a hook shot from the sick kid. What the? How did he get that?
What are you doing? That's not safe for children.
Perhaps that's how. Perhaps he didn't really get sick with that Coleman. Perhaps he broke his leg trying to hook shot around Death Mountain himself. Well, who wants even more of this seed opened up is with the lamp the Kohrek has. We have access to the entirety of Death Mountain on the Light World side.
Logically, that is completely accessible, even for Megawatt, although they'll have to do some dark caves to hit it up.
Which I'm sure they're confident in, but that's also, from that turn-in, we have the Bombos Medallion. That's two out of our 3 of our coin collection already found.
Yep, and makes perfect sense for the witches to have a bit of magic to offer up.
One giant explosive coin seems to be the going rate for potential drugs this scene. As we find ourselves just a lot of sticks in the chess game.
And I'm getting the feeling that Megawatt is going to take care of the village and possibly skip Thieves Town for the moment. But we'll see. It would still be a perfectly sensible move.
And that's the Cane of Samaria hanging out in the brewery in the Village of Outcasts. Meanwhile, Kohrek on the right side of your screen, he's taking the old man up Death Mountain, so that's a lot of checks he will have access to. We have a lot of very early unique items available to our runners.
Yeah, I'm almost curious what we're going to see in the hint tiles. Now that we're getting so many unique items, just loads of cash. Cash in Mimic Cave, cash on the western wing of Swamp, cash everywhere.
Cash in Ganon's Tower, my favorite hint, is it's pretty much always guaranteed to be true, because junk fill. Starting out in Thieves Town and Megawatt side, we've got the big key in the first check. Continuing on, as Kohrek is making their way up Spectacle Rock, big 20 up top. They're going to dive in as we find 10 sticks on the side of Megawatt.
And inside Spec Rock, more sticks. We'll get a look at our first hint tile, in all likelihood.
A unique
item is in plain sight.
Have we seen that yet?
Actually, wait, have we?
I don't know if we have. A sword would not count as a unique item. That would be something sharp, as according to the hint tiles. And
I also believe a glove upgrade, like the Titan's Mitts over in Thieves Town. I don't think that counts as a unique item, being a progressive item. I could be wrong on that one though. That was more just to point out that Megawatt now has Titan's Bits.
Megawatt has the Titan Smiths. Meanwhile, Kohrek is going ahead and using that Cane of Burner that they were given in the beginning to go ahead and knock out the Spike Cave. They don't have access to the hook shot yet, just getting a heart container for their troubles. They wish they had talked to the sick kid before they came up here, because they would have had a lot more checks they could have gotten access to at this point.
I'm seeing marks that gloves are considered unique. I have not looked at the code recently to know for sure, but either way, I actually would completely believe.
Yep, the gloves do fall under the unique item text.
Well, there you go then.
Alright, Kohrek making their way back into the Dark World via the Village of Outcasts potentially, but I think he's going to go ahead and knock out Magic Bat first. Meanwhile, Megawatt starts their climb of the mountain, a plethora of items available to them. They'll go ahead and make their way onto this side first before diving over to the east side, where they can check out Paradox Cave. And then we'll have access to Hookshot Cave, as well as Super Bunny. We can knock out we can get our first of our 5-6 crystals in the Tower of Hera. So we're going to spend probably quite a bit of time in the mountain.
Yeah, we can even dip into Turtle Rock. Can't get very far without a fire rod, but you can open the door and peek inside.
We can maybe open the door. It could still be Quake Medallion, which is still at large.
That is fair, and Megawatt has not picked up Bombos yet.
It's a lot of the seed that is yet to be seen. And Megawatt pulls off that bomb jump, so they can save a little bit of time here on Spectacle on the mountain. Alright, and Kohrek picks up his spring shot from the sick kid, quote unquote. I'm going with broken legs still. So now Kohrek's up on the mountain, and they're going to be probably high-fiving Megawatt in a little bit here. Here we are.
Absolutely a little bit. It's absolutely going to be a moment of convergence here.
So let us see what we loot in here. In the 2 checks in the bottom side, we have a heart container and 3 bombs. Yes, indeed, falling up. It's always fun, isn't it?
Falling up and climbing down.
Down the mini mold arms, and in here we have more blueberries, 300 bucks. That's Zora money. 20 bucks, 20 bucks, and a heart container. A whole lot of nothing except for the enough money to go see what King Zora is holding on to. And this is another, though there is a little bit of divergence here, as Kohrek has not yet been to Thieves' Town and doesn't have access to Dark Death Mountain at all at the moment. Well, Megawatt will be able to find the items on that side as they unfortunately get deadrocked. And we see there's 20 bucks on the floating island. But I think at this point, Megawatt's just going to go ahead and take care of the Tower of Hera.
That is, assuming Megawatt is able to. If the big key is in the basement, that is fire-locked, and Megawatt does not have a fire source at the moment.
And they have to go all the way to Ice Rod Cave to pull up one of the only fire source we've found so far. We're going to see what's on this tablet. It's just Couch Cash. We're going to move along. And here we are into the Tower of Hera, and Megawatt's hoping to not be fire-locked. We'll see what happens. Down in the basement, our first check yields the small key. Not the death nail
That's an
yet.
unfriendly sight.
Only one more chance for them to find the big key. To get another hint tile check, the Tower of Hera big...
Oh! Welp!
Ain't that a kick in the head?
That is a very agreeable hammered right there. Megawatt has to dip out, head over to Dark Death Mountain while Kohrek will be able to take a coffee break and clear out the dungeon.
As if you needed any more confirmation, which you already know. So at this point, the lack of Titan's myths on Kohrek's side, as Chad pointed out, kind of evens out now. As Megawatt will have to come back to the Tower of Hera, and it's a long way, a little bit longer way back than it is to get back to Dark Death Mountain.
Yeah, honestly, your hope for now is that Hera doesn't have anything that makes progression. So you can just go take care of Turtle Rock, come over there, take care of Hera, bam, you're at Ganon's Tower. But if there's any progression in here, that is rough for Megawatt.
We will see. It's going to be a little bit of time before we get up the top of the mountain as we get the Spiral Cave, just to being a whole lot of bleh. Looks like Kohrek to be setting up the Death Warp to get out of the bottom here. Just make sure he doesn't take an unfortunate high five from anything else. And Mini Moldorm got a little too close for comfort.
Same with those skeletons.
Well, at least he with Blue Mail, it's not a one-shot, so there they go, and they're gonna go ahead and back up to the entrance. Megawatt is on top. You got dead rocked again.
Oh, always those dead rocks.
Dead rock's got a dead rock. It looks like Megawatt is gonna go ahead and check what opens up Turtle Rock now. One bonk, two bonk, three box, puzzle complete.
And it's Bombos.
So they can't get inside right now.
Of course, Kohrek is not in a position to get inside anytime soon either. So we learn the secret power is in the arrow. That's a joke hint. We already know silver arrows.
But it's not one I've seen before. Somehow I've never seen that text come up, and I find it rather nice. So far, just a stash of cash and a whole lot of nothing else here in Hookshot Cave.
Nope, no value there, unfortunately.
So they're gonna go ahead and head into the Super Bunny Cave.
Kohrek's gonna tackle, hopefully not a Troll Dorm, but doing this fight with just a hammer.
Yes, that's a whole lot of squat in Super Money. So we'll see if there's anything aside from the crystal prize here for Kohrek.
A shovel!
Ugh, fetch quests, why? That seems to be the... And we're just about out of fetch quests already in this seed.
I believe you're correct, yeah. That is everything. That is some good Lionel dodging.
So it looks like Megawatt is going to go ahead and take care of, try to take care of Spiral Cave as well. So they may not get the fairy spawn they wanted. I don't know if this is going to work out for them.
I'm a little skeptical.
Oh, they have access to half magic. They're going to be fine.
This is true.
The half magic was enough to do it. If they were on single magic, they would not have survived. And it sounds like we just heard confirmation that that was a Sankard.
That was Sankard.
All right, so Megawatt is off the mountain, and so is Kohrek. Kohrek is leaving behind a few more locations, but nothing of note. We'll see if that shovel from the Tower of Hera pays off in just a second here on Kohrek's side, while Megawatt is heading over to the Eastern Palace area.
Yeah, we still have not seen any of this area, light or dark world. We don't have the bow, so we can't take care of any of the dungeons over here, but there's still plenty of items to take a peek at.
Alright, so what do we have for the hammer spot today? Just 50 bucks, so Megawatt is doing okay for having to come back up the mountain. Meanwhile, Sahasrara's got quite a bit of money stashed in that shoebox in his closet.
Link is just robbing from an old man at this point. Some heroics.
So here we are, 30 minutes in, and we have 1,500 rupees on Megawatt's side. Money is not going to be a problem this seed at all.
Kohrek
enjoy
is-
chat pointing out that he just stole basically his retirement fund. Perhaps he
Yeah,
just wanted
you
to spend
go
the
to
winter of
jail
his
for that.
life. Perhaps he just wanted to spend the winter of his life hanging out in that like weird hut outside of a giant palace. Meanwhile, Kohrek is going to see what the desert hermit is holding on to in his closet.
Hopefully a little nicer to this old man.
Just a little bit of love. Years of tax evasion.
Nobody's playing as Yoshi.
Alright, and a nice little bit of convenience having the hook shot there is we have a flute. Potentially not something you're hoping to see as a runner with a pendant Misery Mire. Though it will be nice for Megawatt, as that'll give them a chance to route in the Ice Rod Cave where their lamp is heading out. Meanwhile, on the right side of your screen, take a look. It's in a book. It's Desert Palace for Kohrek.
And we did see the desert ledge very briefly. I didn't see what it was, just a blur of blue, so probably not anything that our runners care about. Unless it's flippers.
Yeah, I think chat disagrees.
They're saying flippers? Well, we'll see who's right. It's probably chat.
Do you trust the Twitch chat? The
fair point.
Or the Pandora's box, or no, dang it. I can't think of the thing, as we got boots required for Kohrek here, and a unique item is in Turtle Rock.
And there are still a lot of unique items left to go.
So here we have ourselves a boots required seed.
Yeah, we could have Fire Rod in Turtle Rock. We could have Boots in Turtle Rock. That is a unique item.
Absolutely. As Megawatt is clearing through this dark room of Eastern Palace, though they don't... This is in logic, because we do have access to the lamp. He just hasn't grabbed it yet. Meanwhile, Kohrek can swim.
Yep, chat was correct.
And there's a very vanilla big key for Megawatt, so they're going to go ahead and see what is in the big chest. We will not be able to take care of the Armos Knights unless, of course, the bow comes up in its vanilla location. Single rupee on the Hylia Island.
We've been having a lot of vanilla so far.
And that's not part of it.
Yeah.
Alright, so Eastern Palace coming up a bust thus far. Desert was the play to get your access to the flippers. We'll see if anything else comes of it.
Well, Megawatt did end up with the flute out of Eastern, but don't know if that's going to be extremely valuable other than just the fast travel convenience.
And thanks for visiting, kid. Up $20. That's just 20 from the hobo there.
He lives under a bridge. He's not going to have the $600 that Sahasrara has.
Indeed, but we're going to go ahead and serenade a swag duck on Megawatt's side. Meanwhile, Kohrek's heading over to the Zora area. Alright, Waterfall Ferry for Kohrek on the right. We've got ourselves a Master Sword and a Heart Container. Remember, as well as we're going to see what the free refill is. And that's a green
Some green
potion.
goo.
Not the most helpful, but still okay.
And Megawatt gonna end up with Bombos in just a moment, and has the flute already out, hopefully going to 8.
One would hope so, to give them access to fit and go back to Tower of Hera, as we see $50 hanging out on Zora Ledge. Kohrek taking a bit of a swim as it ends up coming in nominally faster. It looks like Megawatt's going to 6 first. They wanted to check the desert ledge, and then like, oh, well, I'll be back here in a minute. Or maybe I just will go back.
Little indecisive. Gotta remember you got that book. And Zora's just got some blueberries.
I guess it comes down to, do I want to go ahead and get that now, or do I want to come back for it? I'm already in the thingy. Crap. Though, chat bringing up a point. Given that we have Hookshot, Bombos, and the King of Samaria, we've got ourselves full access to Ice Palace here.
That is true. Kohrek is missing that Titan's Mitt, but when Megawatt grabs these flippers, head over to 8, grab that lamp out of the Ice Rod Cave, and then take a dip into the coldest of dungeons.
Definitely not the worst play, because it seems to be when you've got yourself really early access to it all, and then you're like, oh, here's Bombos and everything else. The fire rod's on cold stare, isn't it?
And then the Ice Rod is on cold stare, and it's actually very, very logical and topical.
It's always interesting to see how the decided placement of the Ice Rod in the vanilla game, but get your hypes up in chat, folks. Kohrek has taken a visit. He's got their book out. They're heading up to the pedestal, and we're going to see today that we have just Cash. Move along.
Feel free to play your saddest trombone.
It is sad indeed, as I will not get to see 2 pedestal seeds in one day. I don't want to get too greedy. Megawatt's going to hang out with the Desert Hermit, get their piece of heart, and see where they head to next. Meanwhile, Kohrek is going to head into the Dark World.
Sure we don't get...
Chat, we are in standard mode, and to set us up why we are here, this is the final scheduled race of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. Before today, these teams were tied in first place. Earlier today, Gem took a game off of Jet to put Team 4K 4th and Forehead in the lead. A 3-way tie for 4th place has led it to, if Fendrana and Megawatt win this race, they will be tied, and there will be a tiebreaker played tomorrow between the remaining 2 runners of these teams.
Now, it is worth mentioning that no matter what happens, both these teams are in the playoffs. What they are competing for is that first week bye.
That's something you want. It's a few less races that you have to play if you want to win. Meanwhile, Megawatt completes their long walk to a cold cave, gets their lamp, and dark room's no longer a problem.
They're gonna flute away and come right back, I guess. Yes, the situation in the Lake Hylia division is surprisingly precise, and we had to have a bit of discussion about how we were actually going to handle this tiebreaker. Because there were plans and such in place, but then we have teams who are very, very evenly matched.
The Lake Hylian division was tightly contested, and it continues to be so right now as we are making our way through. Meanwhile, Megawatt's swimming around, probably going to go ahead and knock out some of these flipper-locked locations, probably check Zora, and then it comes down to where do they want to head to next. We have a pod we can't complete, we have an Ice Palace that we can fully clear, he has a Tower of Hera he has to take care of at some point.
Yep, although in that case we do know that there is no real rush to do it. But Ice Palace or Thieves Town, those are the ones that you can actually complete right now, so either one of those would be a smart priority.
So Thieves Town is the green pendant, so there's no guarantee that that clear is required. Though I do like that Megawatt is going up to the Zora area first, because that will give them at least Master Sword to be able to clear through Ice Palace. Make Cold Stare a little bit more manageable. That was a bumper ledge check just to see $20.
Yep, nice to knock that out of your checklist.
As we take a long walk to see a scam artist.
Yeah, now
Kohrek
these are
is the
hand-grown
judge.
organic blueberries.
Yes, they are. Artisanally crafted bombs. Guaranteed to have one extra pixel of boom with no extra hitbox. Life lessons of King Zora. Kohrek goes ahead and opens up the Thieves' Town, but doesn't go in quite yet. Perhaps just wanting to knock out a couple of other checks, as now they're going to find their Arcana Samaria, which might have made the checks on the in Skull Woods a little bit faster. And now, calling it out, Kohrek did not find anything of note in Eastern Palace. So here we are at 2 canes. We'll see what else we can find on this seed. See where Megawott decides to go to next.
Yeah, Chad is right. That is the Ice Palace potion. Because you do not want to run out of magic, and you do not want to die.
And goes ahead and pops in there, grabs their Bombos medallion so they can take care of some Freezors. Ice Palace in 41 minutes. Here we go. We've got everything we need to take care of this. And with that half magic, you'd hope to find the fire rod before you get to Cold Stare is. We find out that the big red bomb, not going to be a thing today.
We'll see if Kohrek decides to head towards the back of Thieves' Town or just leave it to the front for like Megawatt did.
It looks like Kohrek.
That's looking like a
Mm-hmm.
It's looking like a full play.
One Pengator left for Megawatt. That's a compass, so we'll see if Megawatt abandoned anything deeper in this dungeon. Pendant Thieves' Town tends to be one of those bad, worst case scenarios. Either you've wasted time or you've done well. It's interesting to see that they've chosen to continue despite having access to a crystal dungeon right now with that Titansmith's pickup. But while you're here, you may as well take the dive. Being the green pendant, it does add an extra item to your investment, as we find out there's some cash in Hookshot Cave.
Just some. Just, what was it, 3 out of the 4 were cash?
I believe so. I'm really hoping to find out there's like there's a hint for the giant hoard of cash in Saha's closet. You know, Megawatt setting up one of the infamous Ice Palace bomb jump. First tries to go. And we're on to the next room. Definitely one of those tricks where it is suggested that if you really want to get serious, you should learn it. And perhaps you should learn the other one that gets you around the room with the hook shots required to cross.
That one is substantially trickier, the two.
But it did come up fairly decent in a race earlier today. And are we going to see it? Not quite. Almost gets the quick spin into the stairs there. One of the more recent finds. Time to burn down a couple more Freezors.
No, you are right about the Ice Palace bomb jump being really valuable. That plus the hammer jump over in Pod, if you're playing Key Sanity, are extremely valuable in helping you get through dungeons much faster and with fewer resources.
If you take a look at the Randomizer Discord, there's all kinds of sources on how you can figure that out. Alright, so we will see what the last hint tile is, and we'll find out that the boots are hiding out in the purple chest.
So you'll want to do a fetch quest.
I have a feeling this will probably be pretty high up on Megawatt's priority list now with that information. As we see just the burrito in the big chest. of Thieves Town. Nothing else of note has come out of this dive for Kohrek. We'll see if Blind has anything. I have not seen if they have the compass. Actually, no, I thought they picked up the compass, so it looks
Yeah.
like Blind may have something.
At this point, yeah, I'm pretty sure Blind does have an item, and then of course the green pendant. But that is going to be it.
Broken pencils are pointless. Thanks. So we get the vanilla big key on Megawatt's side.
This dip into Thieves Town might have been a broken pencil for all we know. We're about to find out. So Kohrek takes a very clean blind fight, just taking one little hit. No big deal.
3 bombs.
Just for some bombs.
And we've got a bug down on Megawatt's side. So there's the green pendant. We'll see how long it takes Kohrek to cash that in. See, though I don't believe they've cleared the Eastern Palace yet.
They have not, no.
And Megawatt does get the stair spin on the second go. Well done. One of the more recent discoveries. Here we are playing a 27-year-old game, and there's still tricks being found. Alright, now Megawatt heading over to the exterior. Meanwhile, Kohrek hammering some pegs. And that's a heart container. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. They don't have access to the information that they're kind of in the area that's going to lead to boots. Meanwhile, Megawatt kind of getting bullied around by that anti-fairy. They lost a little bit of magic there. But with the half magic, they're still okay to take care of Cold Stare.
That sort of thing is why you grab that potion before heading into Ice Palace.
And there's Uncle Bombs, and Kohrek's looking for instant gratification for that green pendant. As well as the massive hoard of cash that's hanging out in his closet.
And the green pendant today gives us
the arrow
a single
of
arrow.
Destiny. Well, well, well. Pendant Thieves Town strikes again.
You know what? You know what that gave us? That gave us a unique item.
I know, it's one less unique item that will be somewhere else that we didn't want. Meanwhile, Megawatt is dropped into the Gold Stair fight, almost managing to crack the ice shell. Now they've got themselves a fair amount of hearts and the blue mail, so they should be doing okay. You'd like to have something more than Master Sword, but you can go ahead and make use of the hammer as well.
Yep, that will do tempered sword damage. It's a preferable option, but a little trickier to hit with, given that hitbox and how much range you can get from doing these spins.
But very clean fight thus far. Making good use of both spins and spins, slashes, and hammer strikes, and only taking one hit from a snowball for that entire fight. Well executed, as we get confirmation the cane was required, though Megawatt walked around it. Meanwhile, Kohrek is also in Ice Palace to find out, unfortunately, the item you're looking for is not here. Alright, and that's the end of that. So I have a feeling the main thing that we get out of Ice Palace, besides the crystal, was information of where the boots are. I have a feeling Megawatt's going to take that into consideration almost immediately. But nope, they're going to go ahead while they're up here and knock out their Tower of Hera. I do believe.
This might be an interesting Hera T-Rock dip. You certainly won't clear T-Rock unless both rods are in here, but you can take that first peek, get that hint tile.
Well, the fire rod would have to come up first.
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting set of information as we find out that some cash is an hookshot cave for Kohrek. He's so excited. He knows that one of those chests that he hasn't checked has money in it. I do agree. I am curious to see. This is one thing I'm going to have to mark down as a question I'll ask him. The choice where, with Boots' knowledge, to go ahead and knock out Tower of Hera as opposed to taking, going ahead and grabbing the boots and then clearing desert.
Might be suspecting that with Hera being clearable a bit earlier, perhaps that has a better chance of progression.
Well, it is a crystal, and this is something you can potentially route in later on.
Yeah, especially in this case where we know it doesn't have any progression for our runners, so you can do this whenever.
He doesn't know that. He will in just a moment to find out that this was just kind of, the crystal, which you do need. But I agree though, with having the flute, I mean, the smith chain would have been fairly quick, except for the fact that you'd have to save and quit. Then you just go ahead and walk over. I'm perhaps hoping to find the mirror in here to speed up that whole process. It just saves a couple save and quits and some Dark World transitions. Not as bad with the Titan's Mints. Alright, so Megawatt heading up the stairs. Kohrek finding that ice pallet's big key, and if you not have, and while we're running over some recursive checks, if you've not already done so, I really suggest you give these guys a follow. They're putting themselves out there for you, and the least thing you can do is show them a little bit of love and support. As a reminder, this is part of the Link to the Past Randomizer League, and this is the final scheduled match of the regular season. While we're playing here, folks, both of these teams came in tied for first place and vying for that first round bye in the playoffs. If Megawatt wins this for Phendrana, that will cause a tie, and due to the three-way tie for fourth place, the only tiebreaker left was a extra bonus race held tomorrow between the remaining two runners of these teams. That has yet to the time and place of the time and channel that has yet to be decided. But that will be a race between Ack the Boker and Frostbite tomorrow. But that is up to Megawatt to find the win in this, to cause that. Otherwise, Team 4K, Fourth, and Forehead will take first place in the Lake Hylia division and have that first round bye in the playoffs. It looks like I have confirmation from one of our runners that the race, if it does happen, will be at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Yep, not sure which speed gaming channel it'll be on, but all the more reason to follow a bunch of them. We have 6 of them now, plus the 4 language restreams. Might as well, give them all a follow and see which one it pops up on.
And Megawatt gets their shovel. Going to be disappointed when they take that strike to the earth. I kind of hope they're going to go ahead and grab their boots here soon. We'll see what Kohrek decides to do afterward. I'd imagine he's probably going to beeline for the boots. Meanwhile, Megawatt's going to go ahead and over. I think they're thinking they'll check Turtle Rock. I mean, if this has something, it could come up good for them. I mean, we are still looking for the mirror. We are still looking for 2 rods, a bow. We know where the boots are.
If nothing else, this opens it up and gets you a hint tile, so it's something.
Alright, so meanwhile, Kohrek dropping into their Cold Stare fight. We'll see how they fare. The boots were in the purple chest, which the Ice Palace hint told us just a moment ago.
There's a whole lot of bombos on our screen just now.
And look at did you see that? Was that 3 sets of triple hammer strikes? Kohrek is just putting on a clinic in the early part of this Cold Stare fight. Oh, Well, that's a hint. That's definitely a joke hint.
I don't know, depending on what's in this first chest, that could be consummate wisdom.
We'll see what this dive turns out for. As
Kohrek's starting to get bullied.
a key.
Well, that does let Megawatt keep diving in. Oh, Kohrek only has a green potion. This is a little scary.
We're down to half heart. Anything in this room is going to kill him. All right, one cold stare puff down. That's the second puff. Has to watch out for that snowball. Ooh, the diagonal snowball just about sniped him there. Just trying to kite around the snowballs and the puffball.
There.
And that's the end of this fight. Kohrek gets their key and their crystal.
And that's why Megawatt went to the potion shop before diving into Ice Palace.
So that was just a tightly contested fight by Kohrek, but he pulls it off. Meanwhile, this Turtle Rock dive, a whole lot of nothing. Meanwhile, Megawatt's going to go ahead and strike the earth to take care of that shovel spot. And I'm going to hope that they're going to head over and pick up their boots. I think Kohrek's making a beeline.
Yeah, we're gonna have everybody in these villages. They
Strike the
both
earth,
know the
50
boots are
bucks.
over here.
Megawatt showing his displeasure, realizing he just wasted a bit of time that he did have to do eventually. Alright, so we're heading off into the dark world. We have to go find Jeremiah and bring him back home. We'll see what kind of dwarven craftsmen we have today, and more importantly, pick up the purple chest from their house in the dark world to find their boots. Strap them on, go fast, and take care of Desert. And at this point, no one has checked the... Did we get a lumberjack check? I don't think we did.
We are still yet to see the lumberjack ledge.
And it will be open to us now. We have the lamp, we have swords, we have boots. I'd like to see a late Aga play. We're also looking at potential for Misery Mire with that being full completable and being a pendant. Ugh. So we do know at least that we're not looking at a pedestal seed, at least on Kohrek's side knows that, because he went ahead and read it to find out it was just some couch cash. Perhaps interesting that Kohrek has decided to make the walk with the blacksmith.
Well, Kohrek is short one flute.
Oh yes, of course.
Kohrek has still went over to Sahasrar's closet, but did not go into the palace nearby.
I'd be curious to see if something comes up in Mire, because it may be a while before Kohrek gets there. I mean, if the bow is in Misery Mire, that could be troublesome for Kohrek.
That would be
Just another
pretty
dwarven
brutal.
hint. So Megawatt heading back up, gonna head into the dark world, pick up the purple chest, and the boots. After those asking in chat, yes, Desert is boots locked. You've already been in there. Wasn't anything of note. Except the ledge itself did have the flippers, which was the unique item in plain sight we did get hinted at some point in this early seed. Looks like Megawatt's also going to spend time hammer pegging. Unfortunately, he's short the boots to make this a little bit quicker. Though we do know where they're at. We got a purple chest and some hammer pegs.
Yeah, Megawatt will still probably be the first one to actually get the boots, even though Kohrek is save quitting first. Megawatt's got that flute.
Yep, and we'll get them down to the 2-7 a little bit faster. And it goes ahead and takes a full heal as well. Though I think taking that full heal did give a little bit of time back to Kohrek. It's gonna be kind of close, actually. Megawatt just maybe a second and a half ahead of Kohrek in picking up those shoes. And we're going fast. Megawatt's going elseways. Another little bit of extra speed given to them.
Yep, 2 routes, 1 destination.
Take a look.
Hitting that torch in the Desert Palace.
Desert Palace. For those in the chat, the flute is in Eastern Palace, which Kohrek has yet to dive. We'll see if that pays off in anything but overworld movement. As we know, Misery Mire is a pendant, and the pedestal is long dead. That's a big key, and more progression allowed in this dungeon. As we get to hang out here in Desert Palace on both runner sides, as we get the small key, so I imagine we're probably going to run over and knock that portion out first.
Pedestal has already been checked. The pedestal has already been checked. It's just couch cash.
Kohrek has acknowledged. Megawatt does not, despite the fact that we found a book immediately in this seed. And of course, the bow could not be there because of Pod anyway.
Yeah, but it is good that Megawatt has not done any kind of pendant dips, other than the quick dip into the front of Thieves Town. So not likely to be led astray and tempted to go towards the pedestal.
At this point, I mean, they did dive enough of that pendant dungeon to get what was required, because those Titansmiths were hanging out in Thieves Town, but once you get past the first 4, there was nothing else of note. And the green pendant turned in was just a whole lot of bunk as well. So here we are back down in the Land Molus. Looks like we may be looking at Master Sword for the Land Molus fight, something you don't see very often, because usually one of us comes in with a rod, or the rod or something better. Maybe some hammer swings if they're feeling extra spicy, but Land Molus plus hammer hitbox? I'd rather not.
I am 100% with you on that one. I'd certainly rather come in with the silver arrows and the bow and just play sniper for a moment, but our runners won't have that luxury this time.
Absolutely, and looking at where this is interesting to see that the full clear of Thieves Town really didn't cost Kohrek all that much time overall. However, they still have to. I don't think they've done a lot of the Dark Death Mountain yet, so they will probably do that at some point. Though there's nothing really over there for them.
Yeah, I don't believe Kohrek did any Dark Death Mountain because they only had Power Glove when they were up there. They also haven't dipped into Eastern. Megawatt's dip does mean it's a double dip, but it might end up being a required one. Getting those hammer hits on Landmos.
It looks
Kohrek
like
going with Burna.
Cane of Burna, something, I mean, it's not the worst thing, except for the amount of lag it introduces into the arena.
It's a nice throwback to an hour ago.
It's more damage you can do than you can just slashing your sword around. You just chase the Land Molus doing fighter sword damage, and there we have a bow.
Well, nice to see that.
So who wants to go to Pod Eastern? Or Eastern Palace and knock that out? How much of Pod do you want to dip? That's the question. So that will point Kohrek towards their flute eventually. How soon? That's yet to be seen. So now that has given us access to a pendant Palace of Darkness. Joy.
And Kohrek is headed straight towards Eastern. Megawatt taking advantage of some of these boost lock locations. Going to hit the King's Tomb and then probably the Bonk Rocks right afterwards. And then After that, probably head towards Eastern.
Alright, so there's the King's Tube knocked out. I think they're gonna flute from here. Nope.
Nope, still got Bonk Rocks.
I figured you'd save that for another save and quit. You may have to do eventually. So here we are, folks. Let us take inventory of where we're at just over an hour in. We're currently looking for 2 rods and a mirror to complete this seed. Kohrek will find the flute here in Eastern Palace in just a moment, though not necessarily required, as we don't know if that pendant Misery Mire is anything of note. But it looks like Megawatt. Now I'm going to route in to see if we need to if we need to take care of a certain sorcerer. We have all the tools to find the prize here in the Lumberjack Cave. Lumber Ledge was a big 20, and this ledge is 10 sticks. There's a flute for Kohrek. Megawatt's gonna take that flute ride over to 5. Looks like they thought about dipping Pod first, but like, nah, I'll just go clear Eastern first.
Yeah, you're risking too much on getting a mirror there.
Now, Megawatt, having already been through here, will probably have the Armos Knights down a little bit ahead of Kohrek. Gotta love having the boots for this dungeon. The boots come as a reward for completing it, but he really would have loved to have had it while you were in there. Lots of long
Absolutely.
straightaways.
It's also nice if you can come in with a cape, or pull out Burna for that cannonball room and just dash straight through like it doesn't even matter.
Indeed.
Hardly a time save, but it feels good.
Alright, so Megawatt's gonna be heading to the back towards the Armos Knights. I don't remember if they're gonna have an item, but I do believe so, looking at what I've been watching on Kohrek's screen.
Yeah, I believe they will.
Alright, and to, while chat's on the subject, earlier today, the Team 4K 4th and 4 had won a race between these two teams that was Gem over Jet, with the 3-way tie that has been created for 4th place. We're at the point where now the winner of this race if the Phendrana Drifters and Megawatt win this race, there will be a tiebreaker tomorrow at 2 p.m. between Aktha Boker and Frostbite. If Kohrek wins this Team 4K 4th and 4 head, they will clinch that top spot. Alright, so blink and you miss it, folks. This is Armos Knights, I think. Well, they don't seem to be cooperating for Megawatt this time, as that's the burrito, unfortunately, and there's the crystal.
Guess we messed up our count somewhere along the way. So this will put both of our runners at 4 crystals. Megawatt has the advantage in that the flute is already activated. Kohrek's gonna have to go tackle that at some point, but I can imagine, maybe Kohrek will head down to Pod. Megawatt is doing the same, but doing it the fluty way.
And Megawatt is going to go ahead into the Palace of Darkness. We can complete this pendant dungeon. At this point, it looks like a likely candidate for progression, though. Neither runners has been to Catfish or the Pyramid Ledge. And that has been available to us for quite some time. At this point, we're looking for 2 rods and a mirror.
Kohrek finding that flute to be pretty important, going to save and quit and activate it right now. Along with these boost lock checks.
Alright, so Kohrek going to knock out those boost locations and pull up their flute. I think this is a sound decision, just knock out these boost lock locations and then give yourself access to even more quick maneuverability over the Dark World. Or the Light World, excuse me.
And yes, at this point we are pretty confident that the flippers were the unique item in plain sight that were hinted at. That doesn't mean they are the only unique item in plain sight, just the one that was being hinted at. So, Pyramid could still well have something. We know there's nothing inside, but on the outside, who knows?
And there's always the thought of that flute giving us access to Misery Mire, also a pendant dungeon that we can clear. So there are the probabilities a little bit higher in the Palace of Darkness, as that has a few more spots to check.
Just a few, just a lot.
And we do know that the pedestal is long dead, so I'm not worrying so much about the pendant itself. Alright, there's the big key for Megawatt.
Another vanilla big key.
Starting to become a bit of a thing. Alright, there is the map picked up. Can you continue on into the Palace of Darkness onto that Bolog side as Kohrek serenades their swag duck. As you see, a bottle and a map are in the Firelock side of Mire, so if we do go there, we know we're now down to a single unique item in Misery Mire, and it's not in the cutscene chest. Oof. Alright, we see a small key there. There are a few keys. Just a few small keys in the Palace of Darkness, right? Meanwhile, Kohrek is onto the Mire area.
Well, this is a bold play.
Well, checking the overworld locations, not the worst thing to do. At this point, we're looking pretty knotted up. Both of our runners are at the same bit of, well, where's the thing I need? Megawatt has decided to dive into the Pendant Palace of Darkness. Kohrek diving into the Pendant Mire. Though he could have saved a little bit of time going to Pod first, as we know that the Firelock side has a bottle and the map, so we're down to one unique item left in Misery Mire. What will it be? Only time will tell. Where will it be? Probably on Vitreous.
I mean, it is Pendant Mire.
There's another small key for Megawatt. Next chest. Compass. Moving on.
Items are very backloaded in here.
I do believe that just put a pendant on the Helmosaur King. Or an item, excuse me.
Yeah, I believe so. Because we have seen the map, we have seen the compass. And there cannot be a small key.
No, there cannot. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and see what is on this bridge in Misery Mire. That's the compass, the blue boomerang on the left side for Megawatt. A couple more chests. It looks like Megawatt's also deciding to set up a death warp here. They're thinking they're not, whatever is on the Helmosaur King, they're not interested.
That or they just want to get away from this big old chest.
And the big chest reveals the Fire Rod.
Fire Rod!
Pendant Pod has the key. So that opens up Skullwoods and more of Turtle Rock.
Oh, we could very easily end up with a triple dip of T-Rock on Megawatt's side.
But I think they're going to go ahead and knock out Skullwoods first, though we know there's not a whole lot there. Meanwhile, Kohrek is trying to clear through, and that's the second unique item in Misery Mire. Misery Mire is a dud. We've got a bottle and 5 rupees. They will not have to do Vitreous, though I think they're going to try to avoid the Firelock side, unfortunately.
Yeah, but if they are counting, they're going to realize that there is still one item left and it's over there, and they are not going to be happy.
When they find it. And meanwhile, Megawatt is going to go ahead and head straight for the back of Skullwoods by the look of it. Go ahead and head out with their date with Mothula. And Chad bringing up a good point. The mire area is not completely dead, as the ice rod could be in Checkerboard Cave. May take a while before they get there. Of course, the mirror has to come up first. Big key for Megawatt. I think they're going to go ahead and knock out Mothula first.
Honestly, Ice Rod being in Checkerboard is even worse for Kohrek, because as you can see, they're already in the mire area. So they would have to come back later with that mirror to make that one-off check.
And Kohrek is not going to head to Vitreous, so that's going to be a little bit of time saved, though the way they routed it didn't really save them time. Right, Megawatt is making their way through to the chest under the bridge. Yeah, with that fire rod find, everything in Turtle Rock opened up aside from Trinex. So there are a lot of checks available in Turtle Rock, so that's probably a destination on Megawatt's list eventually. Unless that mirror comes up first, and then Swamp Palace would be on their mind a lot sooner.
Yeah, you're really hoping to see that mirror as soon as possible, because you want Turtle Rock to be the last dungeon that you hit, or the second to last, with Hera being the last. Those are the most convenient arrangements to get. As Kohrek realizes, there's no item on Vidi, so why bother?
And we know that the pedestal is blech, so they're out. Alright, Kohrek, where are you heading next? You're gonna go ahead and knock out your Dark Death Mountain checks you have not already done. Both runners had to isolate locations on the mountain, while Megawatt did not have the lamp to clear out Tower of Hera. Kohrek did not have the Titan's Mitts to do Dark Death Mountain.
And of course, the comedy here is that in both cases, what they orphaned wasn't progression. Granted, we do need to do Hera to complete the seed, but there wasn't any items of any interest. We could have done that last.
Megawatt backed into the corner there, surrounded by spike traps and the moth, has to blow their blue potion they picked up for Ice Palace. Mothula definitely a fight that's influenced more by the arena than the boss itself. That's a map off of Mothula, and more importantly, Crystal. Alright, so with that, Megawatt, what's next on your agenda?
Well,
Maybe
probably
I'll-
cleaning up Skull Woods first, and then, who knows, might dip into Thieves Town if they're unsure about heading up to T-Rock.
I think you go for the Crystal Dungeon first.
Do you take the Crystal Dungeon or the one you know you can finish?
I guess it really just depends on how you're feeling ahead or behind Kohrek into the Hookshot Cave to finding money. Lots of money. And a little bit of love.
And some high explosives.
Taking a bomb across, open the big chest, 3 blueberries, we out. Can't quite bonk over that. So everybody cave for Kohrek. More sticks. And a heart. Alright, and there's the second unique item in Skull Woods. Now Megawatt has a decision on their hands. Where are they going next? So far, they're starting on the mountain.
And they're pulling out the hook shot, not the flute.
So it looks like we're going to see a second dive into Turtle Rock by Megawatt. Kohrek into their first one. That just walk away hint. Something that Kohrek should be listening to is they do not have the fire rod, and that's in the Palace of Darkness. In the big chest. It's buried deep as well. We did orphan an item on the Helmosaur King. If that's the ice rod, perhaps it gives a little bit back to Kohrek. We will see.
If that's the ice rod, then that's a certain kind of comedy that you only get with Randomizer.
As Kohrek gets denied from going deeper by that red Stalfos. Eef. So here we are, hour 20 minutes in. We're looking for an ice rod and a mirror. I figure one of those probably turns up in here. We will see. Alright, Kohrek meanwhile has completed and gone as far and into Turtle Rock as they can. They're heading out of Link's house. We'll see where they go to next. And they're running towards the Dark World via the Link's house portal. Right, we will. Right. Meanwhile, Megawatt pulling out their cane of Burna for a little bit of cane dashing. Small key, small key. We gotta go deeper. I do love that cane dash pose.
It's so good. I mean, the hammer dash, like Kohrek just did, lovely, but it's not quite a cane dash.
It's not as it doesn't have the swag to it. Though I think the ultimate item, the ultimate item dash swag is shovel dashing.
Oh, shovel dashing is brilliant.
Did you know that shovel dashing can cause soft locks in the dig game?
I did not.
Yes, it can. And meanwhile, we find and our first visit to the Pyramid of Power yields just a piece of heart. So Kohrek's out of there. Looks like Kohrek is going to head up to the Catfish, a overall location that we have not yet checked this seed.
Nope, and one that has been accessible for a good while.
We'll see what, if anything, turns up here off this long walk, and if this comes up with progression, that gives a little bit of time back to Kohrek.
Yeah, we have not seen any hints one way or another in terms of grumpy fish or anyone friendly. So we have no inclination one way or the other on what this could be.
Alright, we'll drop the skull in and wake up the catfish. What's inside? We will find out. There's the big key in its vanilla location once again in the seed. Catfish coughs up 300 bucks. And Kohrek is out there, time spent. And not even money gained. They say time is money, but this time Kohrek decided to leave that money behind. While Megawatt is continuing to dive deeper, trying to see what in Turtle Rock is the progression, because at this point, that's just about all that's left, unless it's on the Helmosaur King.
Well, if it's on Helmosaur King, Kohrek is in the right neighborhood to check it out. They're going to go into Pod and wind up with that fire rod at bare minimum.
So here's a mean bit of progression that just came to my mind. The mirror turns up a little bit in Turtle Rock, and the ice rod's back there in the Mimic Cave.
I don't know that we've seen a hint for Mimic Cave. We may have, but I don't remember seeing one.
That would be extremely rude. I'm waiting for that time. Alright, so we're going ahead and digging deeper. We're heading over to the laser bridge, hoping to find what our progression item is. We're really hoping it's the ice rod, so we don't have to double dip, but then it has to lead to the mirror somewhere.
Yeah, I think we still have plenty of items within T-Rock at this point. I think we saw the map and the compass both.
Yep, and there's no progression left other than those two items, so looks like Megawatt's going for the laser skips. There's a magic mirror, but we need to keep checking. That's the Quake medallion.
A Quake! A key! We actually expected that one.
It was just a matter of where. And there's the map.
Well,
Megawatt, thank you. He's going to go ahead and check that Mimic Cave right away.
Are we about to see one of the greatest comedies in rando history?
Only time will tell.
Probably not, because it's probably been way better, but...
Alright, just a few mimics down here, and open up that chest, 20 bucks. We're moving on, but we've got a lot of items in Swamp Palace, as well as on the overworld that just opened up to us. So strap in, folks. We're gonna play everybody's favorite game, Where in the Name of Din Furore, and Nehru is that ice rod. I would agree with you. Amazing Inferos. Unburying a shovel would be amusing.
Or having the book on pedestal. That's always
This is a paradox.
a little cheeky. I mean, it's allowed. You're not allowed to know it, but it's allowed.
That's the text if the book is on the pedestal. This is a paradox. And as we know from an earlier hint that the left side of Swamp is dead, so we won't have to worry about those, so it'll be a fairly quick Swamp Palace for Megawatt. Though we are still on Master Sword, just now we're 26 minutes in, with only 2 crystals left to complete.
Yeah, we might have multiple swords up in Ganon's tower this time.
But
That would not be fun.
A unique item is on a boss.
Well,
that's paid off that's paid off already with the bow being on Land Molus.
yes.
But it also would make Megawatt nervous that maybe that hint's talking about the Helmasaur King having an item.
I actually think we had multiple bosses with items, because did we not get the shovel off of Moldorm?
Yes, we did. So that's paid off twice now. Will it happen a third time? Perhaps Kohrek will show us. And then if Helmasaur has the ice rod at this point, that may have put the shoe on the other foot for Kohrek, we will find out. As they've now got their fire rod and access to that mirror deep in Turtle Rock, as well as the kill on the Mothula, which is just a whole lot of nothing, other than the crystal that is required to complete the seed. Megawatt will be finishing their 5-6 crystal puzzle, but we know via the hint system they don't need any more money. Go ahead and clear further into Swamp Palace. We're on the hunt for the ice rod. When that comes up, the amount of things we're checking will change drastically on Megawatt's side. Kohrek, in the meantime, is continuing on to the Palace of Darkness. Now there's the moment of truth. Are they going to the Helmasaur King? And the answer to that question is no. So that, the Helmasaur King has an item. We don't know what it is yet. So that's a bit of a, oh boy. We will see what we find here in Swamp Palace. Perhaps all these extra chests we're opening here is not going to have what we want. Only time will tell, as we've now released the water from this part of Swamp Palace. We'll take 2 more checks down below, 1 check above, and then head back to Argus. We're looking at a slideshow fights, but never mind it. Now 1 hour, 28 minutes, 47 seconds, Megawatt has their ice rod and is entered go mode. Interesting to decide. Well, actually, that extra chest they didn't have to check paid off, as that was the final piece of art which gave them a health refill going into the Argus fight. Perhaps also helping to find a tempered sword along their way. With that, Fentrona Drifters has a firm lead and is looking to be forcing that tiebreaker tomorrow between Ack the Boker and Frostbite at 2 p.m. I hope you're as excited as I am, because we have just a little bit of execution between us and the end of this seed. Just an Argus fight, and then we have to walk all the way back to the Trinex.
Well, you know, the Death Mountain climb part of that is not nearly as bad as just going through T-Rock again. Megawatts hit a triple dip of that dungeon.
And Kohrek also forcing themselves into that scenario. We do know that the logic forces to make a double dip. That's 100% a thing. Triple dip was not, though. Yes, the mirror turned up on Laser Bridge, and the ice rod came out of the flooded chests in Swamp Palace. So let's go mode for Megawatt. Now all they have to do is run their way back to Trinex, kill that boss, and then they're into Ganon's Tower. With that, Kohrek's diving deep. They have a mirror to find, and then they have to walk back out to Swamp Palace to finish out the palace that is Swamp. Both the runners electing to dive into the Palace of Darkness and left an item on the Helmasaur King. Good for them. It wasn't what they were looking for. The difference in this seed being that Kohrek dove Misery Mire to no avail. Megawatt did not make that dive, went straight to pod for the item density, and that came out to be so far the swing point of this seed. However, there's a lot of execution between us and the Bridge of Victory.
That Mire play was definitely the biggest move, but at the same time, Megawatt ended up with that Eastern dip earlier, so got the flute earlier, and those little bits of fast travel speed do add up.
And in Link to the Best Randomizer, every second, every frame counts. Whatever you can save can add up cumulatively over a seed. Perhaps you can save 2 or 3 seconds just by pumping. There's a lot of time that can be saved if you're willing to put in the effort. Meanwhile, Megawatt is transitioning to the Dark World, and all they have to do is walk their way through Turtle Rock down back to Trinex. And then they'll be off to Ganon, and hopefully a tiebreaker match between these two teams tomorrow. That's what Megawatt is hoping for, to give their team a chance at that first round playoff bye.
And again, this is a series for the bye in the first round of playoffs. Both of these teams are already in those finals, so it is just a matter of position. We will be seeing more of these two teams during the playoffs.
Absolutely. So there could be more of these races in their division finals. We're a ways off from that yet. This is the final day of the regular season, and unless this result holds, this was scheduled to be the final race of the regular season. Though if this result holds, we will see a tiebreaker at 2 p.m. on a channel yet to be determined between Ack the Boker and Frostbite. And I'm excited to be able to. I'm definitely hoping to see that race tomorrow. I'm always a fan of more Randomizer, and this league has been a lot of fun. For those asking in chat, yes, the Swamp Palace had the ice rod in one of the flooded chests, and with that, Kohrek has their mirror, as well as their Quake Medallion, the small key that they need when they come back with the ice rod. As the animation plays rather interestingly, as it almost looked like that hard hat beetle fell through the bridge.
Yeah, just sank through the floor. With a sadness of defeat.
And with that, we are almost to Trinex, and I think there's something we can also do.
You know, we might as well do that now.
You know, I think
If
let's go ahead and see if that bot is awake, and yes, indeed it is. Get your guesses in chat, folks. Between 1 and 22 is where that big key could be hiding in Ganon's Tower. If you are a sub or supporter of any of the Speed Gaming network of channels via a subscription or a donation of 250 bits or more, you can enter for a slot on our leaderboard to try to dethrone the Fear Agent and take away that top spot on the leaderboard. What is your guess, Hubven?
You know, I've been going with 11 a whole lot recently, and I'm going to stick to it until it shows value.
I personally am a fan of 17. It's gotten me exactly 1 win thus far. I'm sticking to it. And that is the end of Trinex, an explosion and a crystal drop between Megawatt and Ganon's Tower.
Yep, so if you haven't gotten your guess in already, get it in quick, because Megawatt is going to be heading next door right quick.
GFE. I appreciate the humor in that one. All right, Kohrek heading in towards Swamp Palace, and they'll have their ice rod soon.
Didn't get 2 for 2 on those Lionel skips. Managed to get them earlier, but had to take a hug.
Lionel's just gonna Lionel. All right, last time to get those last. Here's your chance to get those last second guesses in, chat. The stairs are falling. The crystals have spun. After we complete Ganon's Tower, this game will be won.
And item number 1 on the torch is a small key. Megawatt gonna go full left side on this one. The bot refuses to stop.
Alright, here we go with check number 2.
Small key.
Number 3. Shield. 4, 20 rupees. 5, 10 sticks.
And this is a Dark Magician play.
And why is it called Dark Magician, you ask? Well, there was a runner named Dark Magician who just kind of did this strat. Number 6, 5 rupees. Number 7, the Tempered Sword. A good find.
Definitely a great relief, even with those silver arrows. You want to have Tempered going into Ganon.
Yep, every little bit of extra off. I mean, the jump between Master Sword and Tempered Sword is one of the largest damage jump in the game, aside from the difference between regular and silver arrows. So go ahead and take care of some mummies, Gibdos, if you will. Okay, while Kohrek clearing through more. Number 8, we've got a
8.
All right, and we're gonna go ahead and
say
see
congratulations.
who we get to. And the first subsporter to guess correctly was Late Gordon. Congratulations to you. We're gonna go ahead and get you saved on the leaderboard. And that will put you somewhere in there. I think you're in that giant cluster of people with 1 win. Alright, so congratulations to you, Late Gordon. You've got to spun your leaderboard, and there's still lots of League Pass Randomizer League matches to be played as we're going to head into the playoffs. And if this result holds, we'll have 1 tiebreaker match tomorrow at 2 p.m. on a speed gaming channel near you.
Yes, but to get there first, Megawatt needs to take care of the gauntlet that is about to begin.
That's the end of those days action. Further up, meanwhile, Kohrek did find their ice rod in the sunken chests, and they're in go mode. Now all they have to do is a lot. They still have to go finish Skull Woods and walk their way back through Turtle Rock. Yes, Flying Tilt, I do believe that if you did participate in any of the interactive races, those bit donations do count. If you had made a 250-bit donation or more to any of the Speed Gaming network of channels, you're pretty much permanently given access to that big key guessing game. Megawott goes ahead and uses their blue potion to take the refill before they take care of land mode 2. Unfortunately, the Hydra's fireball stopped their 3rd shot from connecting. But that's the final silver skewer into the land mollusk. Now just have to dodge a few fireballs and wait to move on and take care of everyone's favorite little bit of satisfaction, knocking down 3 wizrobes in 1 shot.
Always glorious to see.
Feels
So let's see it
good.
again.
But this time with a sword slash. Clean execution, as always. Definitely a display of execution by both of these runners. Now, just the way the way this race fell aside, their execution has been clean all the way through. And if you have not already given them a follow, please do so. I implore you. Putting themselves out there for your entertainment and mine.
And as we said at the top of the program, these two runners going into this match were undefeated. They had represented their teams extremely well.
And unfortunately, this time, one of them had to take a loss. So we had a very hotly contested Lake Highly division where we had coming into this week, we had a tie for first place and the setups for what became a three-way tie for fourth. Go ahead, and that's one. And that's the end of Moldorm 2. Megawott kind of tempting us with the what looks to be the beginnings of Hover, but waits to cross the bridge and is not a thief, leaves Moldorm's possessions behind, and is heading on to their first, though technically second, required geometry test of this seed. And with that, it's time to play some geometry.
Hey, a nice triple.
But I don't know if we're going to get all credit for all three.
Oh,
No,
we did not.
So we're looking at 2-3-1 here, provided it's not a blue ball.
Oh.
Alright, and that is the end of the Aghanim Revolution. It's time for the King of All Bacon to come loose and strike forth. We've just got a beginning fight between Megawatt and victory for the Phendrana Drifters. As the bat crashes to the top of the Pyramid of Power and the Swag Dux drops us off, we'll see what Ganon has to say for himself before we knock him down. What you got for us today? Do you like me now? The answer to that question is no, Ganon.
How do we like Ganon? Dead, mainly. Not hugging. Ganon hugs are rude. Do not do that.
That's a lot of damage Megawatt just took from that Ganon.
That was...
Realizes I should not continue this fight.
That was full to dead in, like, 10 seconds.
I do believe that Ganon hugs do the most damage of anything in the game, and that's a base rate of 8 hearts.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull out that cape with it and make use of that half magic and green potion that they're holding on to. Perhaps a little bit of nerves or just wanting to seal the deal for them on that point. Alright, now we're into phase 3. Now we just need Ganon to hold still and not get too close. So far, pretty friendly teleports. Though this is not
very friendly.
This may not be the fight that Kohrek sees because of that death that Megawatt took. And that looks like a double setup.
That is no torch glitch, but we are not going to need it.
And with that double, that seals the deal for Megawatt. And here we are, folks. Just a 1x3 bridge is all that separates Megawatt between now and victory for the Phendrana Drifters and a tiebreaker race to be completed tomorrow. And with that, Megawatt crosses the finish line in an official SRL time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 27 seconds. Get your GGs and chats for Megawatt and the Phendrana Drifters. We get more Randomizer League tomorrow, folks. And there we have, and now we get to see that Megawatt does finish the Link to Pass Randomizer season with an undefeated record, and he has joined us in the chat. GGs to you. What a race.
Thanks. So I've got a question.
Yes.
What happened to Kohrek?
It took
Misery Mire.
Misery Mire.
Ooh. What happened in Misery Mire?
Nothing.
Was
He
there
went
something
there.
specific? He went there?
Yes.
That's it?
That.
I don't feel like that would make as much of a time difference as it seems it has, considering he still hasn't finished.
Well, there was
factoring in the
also
10-minute stream delay.
there was also the flute that you obtained much earlier than he did.
Okay, that definitely adds up to something.
And hitting Pod earlier. There was a lot of little things that added up, but that Misery Mire dip was a fair amount of time wasted.
Yeah, the Misery Mire dip, considering they had not been to Pod, where they had to go to there was one of the items on the Firelock side, so it was ended up being a bottle and 5 rupees being the 2 items.
Right.
So kind of didn't really, and also Kohrek did also complete all of Thieves Town.
Okay, so that's another 2-ish minutes, 2.5.
Yeah, so between Thieves Town and Misery Mire, just those 2 were probably the latch in this race for Kohrek, unfortunately. But not to discount their execution, it has been a tough. It was not the friendliest of seeds, I will admit.
Yeah, oh my goodness, the seed started so beautifully. Like, I just got loaded up with so much wonderful progression that at the time it felt like just overwhelmingly like, wow, this is like the start of a jet seed. But then I slowly realized I was in a very awkward position because all the stuff I got didn't really let me clear any dungeons. It's like I had mitts, I had hammer, what else did I have early?
You had full
can't even
Dark World access in 9 minutes. And then you go to Thieves Town, get the Titan's mitts, get the Sick Kid hook shot.
Yeah, the hook shot on Sick Kid was pretty early.
And
then it was mitts and pod.
The Cane of Samaria was in the brewery. We've got the flute out of the Eastern Palace dip.
Yeah, actually, the Titan's Mitts was another one that you got substantially earlier.
Really? Wait,
yeah.
Where was Titan's Mitts? Titan's Mitts was just the front of Thieves Town, right?
Yeah.
But he didn't go there first. While you were doing Thieves Town, he followed up some fetch. Like he went over to Mushroom and got the Bombos medallion. I think he did. It took Kohrek longer to make it to the Village of Outcasts, but as far as taking longer to get to things, the main question a lot of us had in chat is the decision, or after you cleared Ice Palace, you knew where the boots were, but instead you decided to go clear out the Tower of Hera. What was the decision there?
Yeah, I had gotten bitten before by trying to go pick up my boots from a purple chest after getting a purple chest hint, and then the mirror was like very available somewhere else. I just could have routed such more efficiently then. So that's why I tried to do the same thing here. I was hoping to happen upon my mirror somewhere nice so that I wouldn't have to do the separate trips to get my boots. And I just ended up doing it anyway. Even though I don't think, was mirror actually locked behind the boots in any way? I don't think it was.
Mirror was not locked behind the boots, but the boots were just your ability to clear Desert Palace and of course move faster within over space.
And boy, that Desert Palace clear was just like the seed buster. Get your bow, go to Pendant Pod, get your fire rod, go get nothing from Skullwoods, go gamble on the unique item in Turtle Rock. It's the mirror. Hey, I wonder if my ice rod's in Swamp Palace. You know?
Yes, it is.
Actually, thinking about it,
hope. But yeah.
I think logically, the fire rod would have been boots locked, and if you made any mistakes in key usage, then yeah, that was possible.
Yeah, I just wasn't drawn over to pod at all because pod just generally doesn't appeal to me that much unless I have the bow, in which case it becomes substantially more attractive as a play.
Oh, absolutely.
It does open up the boss and a few more checks in there. Going ahead and turning into the big picture of this race. How did you feel before this race started? Both of you coming in undefeated, trying to hold on to keep your team to have a chance at first place.
I didn't really think about the undefeated part that much. I was just nervous about having to go up against somebody like Kohrek, because I know, like, cause Kohrek's the kind of runner that you feel behind walking out of escape with like a 554 or something really good. Because he's a really good runner. So I was just mostly extremely nervous about the race. And then I got a really good opening going, and then kind of faded until mid game.
I mean, and your opening was strong. In fact, you walked out of the escape sequence a little bit faster and with more magic than Kohrek did.
Okay.
So I mean, your early execution was a little bit ahead of Kohrek's, and just you happened to make the right call, which kind of led to this race. I mean, execution. I mean, for quite a while in the seed, you were in the mid game. You guys were neck and neck. You were both in Desert Palace at the same time. You were both in Tower of Hair at the same time, though he could finish it, but you could not.
Right.
But when Kohrek went up the mountain, they couldn't go check the Dark World of Death Mountain because they didn't have the Titan Smiths yet. Just the crux of who went to Ice Rod Cave and who went to Thieves Town.
Right. Was there anything on Dark Mountain? I don't remember there being anything.
No, there was nothing on the mountain.
Okay, that's
progression at all.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah, that's right. I felt like super burned when that happened. Like I went up to Death Mountain, got absolutely nothing out of it, Light World and Dark World, and then I couldn't even clear Hera. Like that's the part where like the mid game kind of set in, and I started to feel bad about all the decisions I was making, for the most part.
But then it came through. So when you, so I guess looking at how on feelings as far as the overall race. So now you're making your way into that second dip of Turtle Rock, and you find the mirror. How are you feeling at that point?
It's kind of 50-50 at that point. It's like, if my ice rod is mirror locked, I'm feeling great. If it's not, well then I just lose. So it was like, I wasn't sure how to feel, is basically how it went.
I mean,
I'm sure it was a bit of a relief when you did see that the ice rod was mirror locked.
At that point, what mirror locked locations weren't available aside from Misery Mire to you? The helm was working? So at that point, when you're in Turtle Rock and you find the mirror, I mean, where else could the ice rod have been that wasn't mirror locked?
Oh, that wasn't mirror locked. It could have been anywhere in Mire. It could have been Mire Shed. I had initially gone over, like that was one of my fears going to Turtle Rock, because I had initially gone over to check Mire Shed before I found my flippers and got really sidetracked and never went back. And then Mire itself as well was a possibility. So I was really nervous that would just end up being where the ice rod was. Or like, I mean, I felt not super nervous about it just because of the unique item hit in Turtle Rock, but I mean, there were still a few unique items at the table. There was still Cape, there was still the mirror, there was still the red boomerang. I mean, it did end up being my mirror, which was required to find the ice rod, but still.
And of course, complete the seed because you have to go to Sword House. Anyway. All right. So, how do you feel your team your team stakes feel for tomorrow, with your Frostbite facing off with Act the Bokers for that first place race tomorrow?
You got this, Frostbite. I believe in you. Pull it home. I need a break next week anyway for finals.
As Moldorm smacks away Kohrek and says, "No, you're not finishing yet." I'm definitely excited to be able to watch that race tomorrow. I hope you will all join us. We do know that we'll be at 2 p.m. The channel has yet to be decided. So while we've got you here, how do you feel about the league, and how do you feel about your chances going into playoffs?
I think the league's been phenomenal so far. Everybody involved has done a really great job. It's just been a super enjoyable tournament format, including the part about it's like a team thing, right? So not only does that mean you get to take a break every now and then, so you avoid the burnout, but also you get to go cheer on your teammates. That's kind of a unique thing to this tournament format so far that I haven't seen anything prior.
It's definitely been the consensus around it. It is a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to watch and commentate as well. I just hope that people like you, the ones that are actually putting themselves out there and dealing with having to actually navigate these things that are called seeds. I'm definitely thankful for the thank you for letting us restream and watch and hang out and have fun with everyone. It's just kind of and open up the randomizer to the greater audience of Twitch and just how many more people. I mean, people are getting involved in this. Just to say, hey, this looks like fun. Maybe this is something I can do. I didn't know that you could scramble Link to the Past to look like this mess. Perhaps I want to sit there and dip through pendant, go into places that I don't really want to be, and that's where all the stuff is. But that's the beauty of it. It's accessible to everyone as Kohrek is dropped into the big pig fight. Any last comments before you can either remain or go there, Megawatt?
I'm gonna sit here so we can say GG's to Kohrek since he's like right here. He's almost done. But as far as the seed itself, A+ opening, everything after that was awful. I hated every moment of it. No, it was fun, but the mid-game to end-game sequence was just a mess, and I did not feel like I routed it super well. Although, God.
Speaking of Ganon, how about Ganon? Are those hugs nice?
It always throws me off when I get that pattern where he goes down to the bottom, but he like faces the wall instead of just putting his back to it, and the hitbox is super weird during that pattern as well. So I just wasn't expecting it, and it caught me completely off guard.
Alright, and there is the final stick in Ganon for Kohrek. Get your GGs in chat, folks. Just a 1x3 bit result separates Kohrek between now and the end of this seed. And with this passage, I can announce that Kohrek's finished in second place with an hour of 1 hour, 56 minutes, 57 seconds. Oh hey, it's you. Get your GGs in chat, folks. What a race we had today. And we have now been joined by the one that is Kohrek. GGs to you.
Hey, GG.
GG's, Kohrek.
So, what do you think of that seed?
It came down to 2 pendant dungeons. Well, came down to 2.5 pendant dungeons, I suppose, because Thieves Town. But it's fine. It's I got a Sphere 1 flute pretty late, and I decided that the probability of finding progression between Mireshed and Mire was going to be higher than Pod. Also, and that was my read, and it was wrong in this seed. So that's rando for you.
I'm afraid it is. There are definitely seeds where that was the correct play and would have handed you the win, and this unfortunately just wasn't one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to be too upset. I mean, this has been a fun league, and both of my teammates had dropped the game along the way, and this is my turn. So this is just how it goes.
And speaking to crux moments, there I don't know if we probably should watch the VOD back. There was one point where both of you were on Death Mountain and left with a moment where neither of you could complete something the other one could. You walked up the mountain. You didn't have Titan's Mitts, but you had the lamp, so you could take care of Tower of Hera, while Megawatt had the Titan's Mitts. He could do the Dark Death Mountain side, but he got that nice little screw you hint out of the big key is in the bottom of Hera.
Oh yeah, that was just sitting there, right? I hate that hint.
Yeah, that was a very helpful one there. My favorite hint was the hint for Mire's left side after I had already done it. That was good.
Oh yeah.
I think my personal favorite was the joke hint in Turtle Rock, telling you to turn around. Considering both of you ended up going in there a bit premature.
That's pretty good in retrospect, yeah.
Just walk away.
Just walk
really
away.
Wanted to dig for that unique item, even without the fire rod.
Turns out it's locked behind it. Very, very deeply. Alright, so Kohrek, so what are your thoughts of your team, or I guess start with How do you feel AK fares tomorrow against Frostbite in this now tiebreaker race scheduled at 2 p.m. tomorrow?
I mean, Ak will do fine. He'll do his thing. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, it's been fun. Like I don't know. Been a fun competition for me. I think this is my fifth, or I guess my fifth race in the league. Whereas I just came off of the fall tournament where I had 31v1s. So this is nice. This is calm, fun. We're having a good time here.
I definitely say the format does lend itself to being very much runner friendly, and I think viewer friendly as well. Isn't it? It adds not only are you watching some really high quality randomizer, but now you're seeing the other parts of the team. They're out there in chat with you, cheering on their teammates, and breaking down what's happening in front of them with you. So it adds to more of a community. A community environment as opposed to just watching two people slugging it out just to try to keep going through this tournament that we've already been playing for what feels way too long. Which also leads to that there's less chance of the burnout feel. But moving in toward the future of this league, you're going to playoffs either way, whether it's via a first round bye or having to play in the against the other team. How do you think your team fares in the playoffs?
On my side, I feel pretty comfortable. We get, I think, now that it's best of 5 and there's some selected modes, I think we fare pretty well in some of the selections that come into the pool. So it should be fun. It should be a good time.
I mean, and how do you think? Do you think that your team could be one of those that could deny us that Friday interview?
I mean, we're on our team. We're pretty good friends with Farame, and I think if any one of the three of us were the ones to knock out them in the finals, we would probably I don't know. It would be interesting. I think all of us want to hear Farame do an interview in English. He has done it on Portuguese before, but we want to hear that on the main SG channels. So yeah, we'll be rooting for that.
Well, there's still a lot of randomizer between us and that moment, as we still have to face off in that tiebreaker race tomorrow, as well as carve our way through the playoffs. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and send this off into that good night, Kohrek?
Yeah, just want to thank Megawatt for the great race tonight, and I want to thank both of you for commentating and for the tracking. I think we had Cassidy Moen in the tracking, so thanks there, and everybody out there watching. Just a lot of fun. Volunteers are important, and GG again, Megawatt.
Yeah, GGs.
All right, and we're going to go ahead and get us toward the end of this. If you want some more randomizer action, switch your channels over to the main Speed Gaming channel now, as we have just started one of the quarterfinal races of the Link to the Past Randomizer Spoiler Log Tournament, and that's between Zero Rush and ACMLM. That should be hotly contested. They're going to do a doubleheader, the first 2 of their series, to continue on in that tournament, as well as keep your eyes locked on speedgaming.org/schedule tomorrow, as we will have a tiebreaker race between Frostbite and Ack the Boker at 2 p.m. on a channel yet to be determined. There's still some more late night action on this Speed Gaming network of channels. If you turn your dial to Speed Gaming 2 at 11, we have the Super Metroid Prodigy, as well as an Overworld Glitches match on Speed Gaming 3 between Mentos Man and Spleeble. That should be a lot of fun. The schedule for Sunday is stacked. There's a Link to the Past Randomizer, Overworld Glitches Tournament, Metroid Zero Mission 100%, Super Metroid Prodigy, Final Fantasy 1, Spring, some more Overworld Glitches. There's just a lot of fun action out there tomorrow, and I hope to see you out there. As always, keep it locked in. If you haven't already done so, give a follow to these runners. Also, throw a follow over to our tracker, Cassidy Moen, and of course my co-commentator, Hubfen. Also, go ahead and throw a follow to the Speed Gaming Network channels. That's Speed Gaming and Speed Gaming 2 through 6, as well as the language channels as well, if you happen to be a speaker of other languages. Any final thoughts there, Hupfen?
Nothing other than to say that, yeah, that run 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'm over on the Pacific time zone, so it's going to be a little earlier for me, but I'll definitely be sure to be up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it. Remember, go ahead and visit ALTTPR.league to get more information about the Link to Past Randomizer League, as we are going to be heading into the playoffs after tomorrow's tiebreaker race. I'm hoping to see that and have a lot of fun with that. With that, I am Bungie to the Tree. That was Hupfen. This is the Link to the Past Randomizer League. And for that, I will say good night and good rando.
Good night, everybody.